Hi, everyone, and welcome to Cannesversations. I'm Stephanie Beach, and I'm here with Keith today. Can you please introduce yourself?
Happy to, Stephanie. My name's Keith Weisberg, and I'm a partner at 3C Ventures.
Thank you for being here. I'm very excited.
I'm excited to be here, too.
How is the conference going for you so far?
It's been amazing. I always like to joke that it feels like Cannes in New York. Because instead of the Croisette, we have this giant building with 4 stories. You get to wander around, bump into all your friends, and then so much magic happens around the conference, too.
That is the truth. It really does bring that area. I mean, it's already to life in Herald Square, but it brings that building back to life. And it's a little overwhelming, I feel like, this year. I don't know if there's more people or not, but I just went over earlier today for the first time, and it was a lot.
It's definitely a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. So are you ready to get into it?
I am so ready.
Awesome. So I have a couple of industry questions for you, and then we'll do some rapid fire. How are multicultural communities changing the way consumers consume media and connect with each other, and what should brands be doing differently as a result?
Great question. When it comes to this one, I've always been global when it comes to ad spend. So what's exciting about this year is the industry is going to break $1 trillion. I want to say it's 1.08 trillion will be spent in media this year.
Wow.
And when you look at US and China, that's usually the lion's share. I think the US is, call it the high of 460, give or take. And China's another chunk. So let's call it 55, 60% is going to be US, China. And you got another 40% that's going to be the rest of the world. So it's always been multicultural to me. You also look at the US alone, and almost 20% of the population is now identifying as Latinx in the latest census. So I look at a question like this, and my answer is it's always been that way, and brands should be considering it if they haven't.
Yeah, I think it's a big missed opportunity if they're not doing anything to specifically talk to different multicultural groups or to curate their creative and their messaging and their call to action. It's one of my pet peeves when I see ads online. It's like, really? That and a retargeting ad after I made a purchase. Pet peeve. Pet peeve. Retail media is big right now. A lot of the topics at the conference are talking about it. And I feel like not just media retail networks, but everybody's coming out with their own network in general. How do you think it's changing the way consumers shop? And what is the key to making it a successful part of a marketing strategy?
Another great question. So I've been calling it now commerce media networks instead of retail media networks to try and include anyone that has proprietary first-party data and has unique consumers either physically in their store or visiting their properties. Because when you walk around a city like New York, even looking outside the window behind us, there's so much digital out of home, there's outdoors, You pass banks, you pass Duane Reade's, Walgreens. All these stores have the opportunity to be a commerce media or retail media network. And so when I look at something like this, you think about any consumer's journey, yourself as a consumer or any consumer, they're going to be having experiences with these stores, whether they interact with them directly or indirectly. I think the questions that brands should be asking is, what am I trying to do with my advertising? Do I want to show the right ad at the right time? Do I want to do a branding awareness play, or do I want to drive pure performance? And so working backwards from that, I look at this whole situation as there's probably a good reason to show an ad anywhere. It's about defining the best path in that individual consumer to optimize for your particular brand, and then working backwards from that specific objective.
You make it sound so simple. And I love the commerce media networks. I think that's what they should be called, actually, because it makes so much more sense. I know it originated with retail, but now everybody is coming up with something. And you're right. If you have the data, why not? You know, it's like a no-brainer.
I mean, I get on an airplane and it says, "Hi, Keith, welcome. You're this seat." I'm just waiting for like my targeted Marriott ad versus a Hilton ad versus a Hyatt ad based on which one thinks they can either brand conquest me or maintain my loyalty.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on to AI, how can we use AI to connect with people on a deeper, more human level, even though it's technology?
It's a good question again. When it comes to AI, the way that I think about it is good data in is good data out. And so to connect to people better, you need to understand the data that would involve in connecting people. One of my favorite things about our industry is that we're trying to evoke emotional responses at scale. And at the end of the day, a good advertisement is a nudge or a reminder, a push to do something that you truly need and want to do.
Yeah.
And so I think AI can help accelerate that ability to do so. If you just capture consumers' implicit and explicit needs and then scale out accordingly with AI to go ahead and reduce the friction to have the users have these positive experiences.
Yeah. And I think the usage and use case for AI is really infinite. So it's really about finding what works for you and adopting it that way. And I think that that's also a good segue into our next question, which is to keep it authentic. And so authenticity has been a word in our industry forever. And I feel as though every brand and everybody is trying to be authentic and they want to, have a message and stand for something, but sometimes it falls short. Right. And sometimes it looks like they're just trying to do what everybody else is doing, or they're trying to jump on the bandwagon or just fit in when maybe that's not the place for them. Right. What does it mean to really be authentic when marketing to diverse audiences? And how can brands avoid looking like they're just jumping on the bandwagon?
This is a difficult one. I'd say avoiding politics entirely when I try to provide this answer. You break it down into generations, where the younger generation really care about when a brand takes a stance and they want to support that stance. So I think when you work backwards from which generation you're working for, boomers, millennials, they're a little bit less concerned about what a brand has a stance. When you start to get into Gen Z, they really care.
Yeah.
And so I think the question is, what does the brand stand for? And what is the brand willing to, you have to take a risk as a brand if you want to start to capture that younger audience. And so the question is, what is the right level of risk versus ethics and values?
And I think sticking to those ethics and values, right? Like, you are who you are and be true to that. And I think that that's really important. Hey, Finn.
Oh, hi, Finn.
We have a little guest. Okay, so now the fun stuff. Are you ready for some rapid fire?
Let's do it.
All right. This or that, AI or humans?
Both.
Okay. Short form or long form video?
I can give a good answer for either of these, because I think short form is easy to consume, but long form is when you really get into the depth of production.
Okay.
So I think they're both, once again, situational.
First party or third party data?
First party.
CTV or social commerce?
CTV for me.
Okay. Overrated or underrated? AI as a creative partner?
Underrated.
The death of the third party cookie?
Overrated.
Influencer marketing?
Underrated.
Podcasting and marketing in the marketing funnel?
Underrated.
Thank you. So, being at the conference, it definitely is a whirlwind. We're meeting so many people, and it's really important to make those connections last and to follow up and really, we're here to do business. We're here to network. And whether that's tomorrow or 10 years from now, it's really important to be able to make these connections last. So what's your best piece of advice for navigating Ad Week?
It's a tricky one. I call it planned serendipity. So I like to do a balance between scheduling meetings, and I feel like there's different flavors of meetings. There's like the quick 15 to 30 minute catch up where you stay surface level. There's the hour where you get to really get to some depth. And then I find it takes a real hour and a half to really properly catch up with someone, get to know them on a personal and professional level, and move forward.
Yeah.
So I try to do a mix of those meetings, just all different flavors and styles of time. I make sure I leave gaps in my day to allow for some space. And I always leave one day of the conference unplanned, because when you get there and you start to walk the floor and you bump into people and you see people at events, you want to make sure you actually have availability that's flexible to go ahead and fill in that time with people you meet.
That's really great advice. And it's so hard because you're trying to do so many things and try to meet with so many people. And then before you know it, those 4 days are gone. And it's just like, wait, what happened? So I like the fact that you leave a little bit of time open to be able to meet with the people that you're just meeting with who might be leaving, and then you don't get that FaceTime with them. It's really smart.
Oh, thank you. And I'd say my biggest secret, by the way, is that because this one's in New York and a lot of our industry is in New York, I try to optimize this week for the people that are visiting.
Yeah.
And then I always push an extra week, and I catch the New York people the following week.
That's smart too. Look at you, all the little tips. So last question, how do you utilize the conference to build your personal brand?
That's a great question. I feel like Cannesversations would be a wonderful way to do it.
Yay.
And I think it depends on what you're trying to do for your personal brand. So me personally, given where my company is currently at 3C Ventures, I'm taking a little bit of step back from trying to do the normal stage appearances. I'm really trying to focus more on building deeper connections and seeing where we can help build the industry as we build this company in a conscious way.
That's great. That's really nice. And I think it's, so important to just be able to have a plan in place for the week, regardless of what it is. And like you said, I'm taking a step back from speaking so that I could build deeper connections. And then you have your plan of attack with your meetings.
Exactly. Because if I was at larger companies, usually I want to do one of those 15-minute sessions during Ad Week to get the soundbite, push it on LinkedIn.
Right.
It's a whole different process. But I think for the stage of this company, it's a different approach.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being here. I enjoyed this.
Oh, I did too. Thank you so much for hosting.
Thank you, everybody. Tune in next time. Bye.